Story 1. They do not show enough interest or it is too subtle. I have been told several times through a woman's friends that they are interested in me, but without that explicit information from the informant, I would never have guessed. It is the old "does she like me or is she just nice?" problem. Story 2. Hints do not show interest. Believing men are oblivious to your hints does not make men clueless. There are many reasons why men do not respond to women who show interest, especially when that interest is vague and veiled. Story 3. Playing hard to get immediately makes us think you are not interested and will move on to someone who does show interest. Story 4. Thinking that playing hard to get is attractive and makes the man want you more is incorrect. Playing hard to get makes you hard to want. Story 5. As an older man, I can remember several occasions when women were definitely flirting with me when I was a teenager and a young man. I rarely recognized that until well after the fact, sometimes decades later. But my wife and I did not have that problem. We both knew what we wanted. We were on the same page the minute we met. Story 6. Do not play mind games or try to test people with nonsense. I have games waiting at home. If you give me reason to think you are not interested, out of respect I will take you at your word and move on with my life. Story 7. Hinting seems to be 50% of this thread, but I want to go into more detail. It is not only that we do not get the hints, which happens a lot. The range on which women communicate interest lies somewhere between "I am giving you nothing, but expect you to make a move," which sometimes feels like having to cross boundaries, to "I am giving you the headlight eyes, head tilt, and giggle about all your jokes, but I am just being friendly." So, for a man to discern real interest, he has to figure out, is this her natural character or a deviation? Is she friendly or flirting? And then even, is she flirting because she is interested or just for fun, attention, or because it is culturally expected? So, if you want to make sure that he gets it, you have to send signals strong enough to get over this "she might just be friendly" threshold of the flirtiest, friendly woman he has met, and be consistent enough to get past the paranoia of misreading the situation. Story 8. You're not hinting, you're communicating in an undocumented language. Additional evidence. Gay men have no problem figuring out if other gay men like them, and lesbians often seem confused about the other person's intentions. Story 9. As Grookey said below me, hinting. I've had girls that eventually break it to me that they are into me, and they complain that I have not acknowledged it. Their idea of hinting was just looking at me across the room. I need communication. If I fancy someone, I will approach them, so my mindset is that other people think the same way. Apparently, they do not. Story 10. Thinking that they have, in fact, shown interest. In general, if you are not dating and he has not explicitly turned you down, you have not shown interest, no matter what you think you did to make it clear. Story 11. 1. Many hints are not clear enough. Be obvious when you are interested in him. Be touchy, flirty, and ask for his number or even on a date if you really like him. If you cannot imagine being with him and feeling confident, you need to be more obvious. Do not wait. You might miss the best opportunity to ask someone out. Many do not ask men out because they think it is the man's responsibility, but it takes two people to make something happen. Story 12. Thinking we are mind readers, they get mad when we do not do what they expect without communicating it to us. Story 13. Stop trying to hint and be blunt about it. Too many men today get in trouble for thinking a woman is interested in them when she is not, so they learn to stop reading flirting signs. Story 14. Putting a man down for something he thinks he is good at is not appropriate. Even if you believe his skills are lacking in a certain area, you do not need to tell him he is bad at it, especially not at the beginning. Story 15. Mixed signals. You are either interested or you are not. Specifically, people who want you to compete or chase after them. Story 16. I think one of the biggest mistakes is being too subtle. Many people genuinely have no idea when someone is interested in them unless it is very clear. Dropping hints or being nice can go completely unnoticed. Story 17. Thinking traits and other behaviors that men are told to improve or eliminate are somehow endearing when women exhibit them. Women can fully embrace these traits. Story 18. No initiative. If you cannot even be bothered to text first, then I have zero time for your game-playing behavior. Relationships are a two-way street. You get what you give. Nothing in this case. Story 19. Playing hard to get or just being indecisive when they are actually interested. I don't want to push anything that seems like someone isn't interested, so I just figure they are not interested and give up trying. You don't have to throw yourself at us, but if you are interested, you can make it a little more obvious. Laugh out loud. Story 20. Lots of comments here talk about the hint situation. I'd like to add something. Men have the right not to be into you even when you are into them. Most people say to make a move or talk instead of hinting. That is nice, but before that, you should try to be friendly and create a peaceful environment around the chosen man and yourself. If your interactions are stressful for him, you will not be successful by telling him you are interested. Story 21. Dropping hints in the hopes that a man will figure it out and make the first move on you, especially for someone who struggles with social cues. Playing hard to get. Do not tell men that no means no, then turn around and wonder why he did not take your no to mean try harder. I thought no meant no. Story 22. Waiting for the person to make every move, then feeling rejected when they do not. That is just playing hard to notice rather than hard to get. Story 23. Playing hard to get or flirting with others to try to make you jealous. Either one would be an instant no from me. Story 24. Staring at a man and sending messages telepathically is not how adults communicate interest. Grow up and be clear about your intentions. Respectable men have been trained that no means no, and unless you make it clear what you mean, we will not push the line past fun, friendly conversation into something more unless you make us certain you are into it too. Story 25. Overthinking. When it comes to interest, men are simple creatures. Don't assume we have some grand plan or are making four-dimensional chess moves. We are stupid and probably thinking you don't like us. Story 26. Usually, you stop responding to messages abruptly after a few hours or days of texting. So please avoid doing that. Story 27. Talking to other men in front of you flirtatiously, in a problematic way, sparking competition or making the man want you more, gives negative impressions and causes us to feel upset. Story 28. Not being obvious enough, at least in my experience. I always needed someone else to point out that a woman was showing interest in me. Story 29. Trying to make men jealous may work for some, but as a man with avoidant tendencies, it has the opposite effect. I have had girls who later turned out to have a crush on me, but they would speak to me and openly compliment other men. When I hear these types of comments, I logically assume you are not interested and back off. Story 30. Lack of game. I really feel women need to increase their ability to flirt and seduce. Many women play defense because men traditionally make the first move, but once the man engages and you're into him, flirt back. A gentle touch, a joke, a beg, or even a little challenge. Something that says we're in this dance together for at least this song. Similarly, I have experienced women miss cues when showing sexual interest. Grabbing does not build tension. It's too much. Hold eye contact, play footsie, use sexual innuendo, something other than going through the motions. Story 31. Hinting and subtlety. Stop it. You are an adult. Say it. Do it. Be overt and obvious. Men, as a whole, do not do subtlety. We do not pick up on it. If you are interested, say so. Be glaringly obvious, like a klaxon alarm. Also, reciprocation. What I mean by this is sharing in the dating and relationship dynamic. If you want communication, attention, or emotional support, you have to be willing to give it too. Many times, men are expected to do a lot of the heavy lifting in a relationship to maintain things and fit a woman's needs and desires. Men have those same needs and desires too. There are two people in this relationship. Once in a while, a man needs some emotional support too. Communication is a two-way endeavor. Most men want to be happy with their partner because their partner makes them feel empowered around and with them. Story 32. They do not show interest when they think they are. If I stand outside a restaurant, are the people inside supposed to know I am hungry? Story 33. Not being too obvious. Many men have been hurt, and depending on the context they meet, they do not want to take the risk. Story 34. Hinting is just another term for expecting the man to make moves, not realizing that men have been conditioned not to approach women and to give them space. I'll be minding my own business in public. I've seen women walk in front of me just to get eye contact. Another example. I saw a curvaceous woman walking down the sidewalk with a man who was focused on his phone. I looked around, avoiding eye contact so as not to come across as a creep or rude. As we got closer, I could tell she had intense eyes aimed at me. I smiled, nodded, and kept walking. I noticed in my periphery that she was literally turning her head to look as I walked past. Her companion was clueless. Was she admiring the scenery? Should I have made a move? I'm just clueless. If a woman wants to come talk, then let's talk. I'm not moving forward because they want to get attention from across the way. Story 35. They either play hard to get when I am making myself available. If the guy is typically busy, he makes time for you, and that is when you choose to play hard to get. Yeah, that is a turnoff. The other is they act weird about showing interest. If you are interested, just be interested and keep it simple. You may get rejected, but at least you were solid and confident in the process. Story 36. Keeping a positive person in your life while you engage in harmful relationships just to make yourself feel better, and then expecting that positive person to still try for you or even want you at that point is unfair. Then calling him an involuntarily celibate person because he no longer wants you is disrespectful. Story 37. Showing interest can often be interpreted as just being nice. If you are interested in pursuing a man romantically, be straightforward about it. Ask him out for coffee, to an activity, or even to sit with you, depending on the situation. You might scare some men off, such as those who only want submissive women, but at least you will not be dismissed as just a nice girl they wonder if she likes them. Story 38. Not showing interest, and when they do, it is in vague hints that no one ever picks up on. My girlfriend was direct and honest, which is how I knew. Story 39. Overthinking every single text message. I used to analyze response times and word choices as if I were solving a puzzle when, in reality, I should have just been enjoying the conversation. Story 40. I looked at him and smiled is not nearly enough of a hint. You do not need to be bold or forward. Just create an opportunity. Ask a man for a spot at the gym, drop some papers on the sidewalk in front of him. Ask him to reach for something you do not need on the top shelf at the store, things like that. Create a space for interaction where he gets to do something for you. Story 41. Too subtle with hints. I understand that women want men to make the first move, but you need to send clearer signals. It does not have to be showing your assets. It can be as simple as your smile lighting up when you see him and greeting him back. Story 42. Stop playing games. Seriously, we have too many things to worry about as men, and women who avoid being direct will only make everything harder than necessary. Story 43. If we are communicating over text and you want to go out with us, ask. The best case is we call it a date and start going out together, and the worst case is we have a nice meal. Take a chance. It is worth it. Story 44. Not being able or feeling too ashamed to express her interest in a respectful, communicative manner. I refuse to assume things and read minds, especially when in a relationship. We are humans, we can talk. Story 45. Assuming men want them or being surprised and pushy when they are rejected. Yes, I have a penis. That does not mean I am attracted to you. Story 46. I'm surprised nobody has mentioned this, but flirting with other guys to make us jealous is noticeable. If I see that, I'll assume you're interested in him, or you're just really flirty with everyone, so I can't interpret our interactions clearly. Story 47. Not being respectful enough to be honest. Expecting men to make the first move when they already know the name they gave to men. Having high expectations when their own maintenance is low. This applies to men as well. Story 48. I'm starting to think they are not making any mistakes. I believe women, for the most part, expect to be pursued, and men and boys are constantly shown that men are only interested in casual sex, which destroys the confidence and comfort of many men. Ironically, making a huge deal out of the prevalence of assault makes good men feel horrible about themselves, while men who aggressively cross lines do not listen to these concerns. Story 49. If I express that I am not interested and that I am in a relationship, it means I am not interested. It does not mean wait until we have both had drinks at a party before you start whispering how good you are at fellatio into my ear or grinding against me in the car home. No means no. Consent is a two-way street. Story 50. My wife literally complained to me about all the hints she was dropping that I seemed to ignore. I may have caught onto one of them after 3 months of testing the waters. Much of it, in my case, can be blamed on a bad past relationship and all the consent stories in college. However, I think not being upfront will be the biggest mistake. Story 51. Okay, this is embarrassing, but it is a true story, and I am only telling it to illustrate an incredibly important fact. When I was in my 20s, I was involved in a club. I am staying vague on purpose, as it is not important what kind of club it was. Suffice to say that there was a 60-40 women to men ratio and we all got along brilliantly. At the end of the year, we had a party and I had no way home, so one of the women told me I could stay at her place. She told me to sleep in her bed with her. She said she was prone to cuddle anything in the bed. She turned off the light and then told me she could not sleep with her top on. At no point did I think she was coming on to me. Not until 15 years later did I think, hey, wait a minute. I think she was interested in me. The moral of the story is the single biggest mistake women make is being vague. You need to be painfully obvious. Like literally say, hi, I am attracted to you and would like to have sexual intercourse with you. Story 52. I am a woman, and I have discussed this with my boyfriend. He said that women talking about all the dates they have been on, how many men have shown interest in them, or having a lot of casual relationships made them undesirable to him. The intention was clearly the opposite, to present themselves as high value. Story 53. One big mistake is coming on too strong too fast. People can feel overwhelmed if the signals are too intense right from the beginning. Story 54. Playing hard to get, not showing any obvious signs, trying to make you jealous, and trying to make you compete with other men are all major turnoffs. Story 55. As pretty much everyone else has been saying, stop with the obscure hinting. Personally, I'm a pretty introverted guy, so if a woman is being nice to me and she is interested, I would default to friendliness. This is because I don't want to misread signs and make you uncomfortable. Please be as obvious as possible. If you are interested, unambiguously shoot your shot, and don't be afraid to make the first move. Even if we are not interested, it is unlikely a guy is going to react negatively. He will probably make their day. I know women do it to have plausible deniability if the guy ends up not being someone they are interested in after talking to them for a while, but just be forward. Even if it doesn't work out, you are far more likely to have the guy understand your intentions and engage more. Story 56. Laying heavy emotional responsibility on me without confirming we are even a real thing yet. I should not be hearing about your family issues if we have not gone on a date. That is boyfriend duties without boyfriend status. I am not your therapist, and that is not telling me you are into me. That is telling me you are desperate for a relationship, whether it is with me or not. No thanks. Story 57. When I first start texting, I drive the conversation by asking questions. Do they ask me questions or show interest in me? Hardly. It feels like I am trying to keep the conversation going, and they are only sort of responding. I feel like my job is to ask questions, show interest, and figure out if we have enough similarities to continue. Do they try the same thing? Not really. They may answer my questions or share some details with pictures. But if I stopped pushing the conversation forward, it would die. This is called mutual interest in getting to know someone. Try it. Be interested. Ask questions. Figure things out. It is like investigating a new person. I think it is fun and challenging. It may lead me to decide it won't work, and that is okay. I wish women put in the effort. We are both trying to do the same thing. Story 58. Being interested in a man and then doing the absolute minimum to show your interest, then getting upset when he does not respond, never fails to amaze me how unwilling some women are to take initiative. Story 59. Not showing enough interest, which is more common, or showing too much interest, which is less common. Not showing interest can take many forms, such as not flirting, not continuing the conversation by asking questions about him, not taking initiative or seeking him out, being boring, not being available or approachable, avoiding eye contact, turning him down to see if he tries harder, not offering alternatives if you must decline an invitation, and not sharing contact information. Showing too much interest may come across as desperate, especially if they do not recognize that the man is not interested. Story 60. Very much agreed. Simply being too vague is the biggest mistake by far. Merely dropping hints is not enough to convey genuine interest for most of us. Is she just being friendly, or is she actually interested in me? I better not risk it. The eternal dilemma. Story 61. I mean, all you have to do is look at us a second too long, and if we do the same, just snatch our phone and put your number in there. Men are not hard to figure out. Story 62. Hurting me. I have had women slap me to get my attention. I have also experienced low-level sexual assault, such as having a tongue in my ear without any warning. Story 63. Dumbing themselves down and pretending they are a damsel in distress is even worse when they act out a silly baby voice as well. Story 64. Thinking that if a man shows interest, he is into you. Many men have been repeatedly told to assume that a woman is not interested, so decent men hold back. Often, the men who do show interest are like Andrew Tate. Story 65. When I am supposed to be the only one leading the conversation, asking questions, and showing interest in her, I think they are not interested. Then they ask why we stopped talking. Story 66. Not direct enough. Just say what is on your mind to avoid misunderstandings. Keeps me out of my own head. Story 67. Okay, so this is not about single women, but I know a few women and men who are missing out on potential partners because of this. Staying with a partner they are not happy with and expecting someone to magically transform them into a new relationship. If you are in a relationship, however dysfunctional, you are not available. If it is not working, exit that relationship respectfully and tell that person how you feel. Story 68. This may sound counterintuitive, but coming on too strong can be off-putting. There was a woman I was interested in and spoke to in person once. We exchanged social media contacts. She immediately pressured me, not with invitations to go on a date, but with suggestions to go somewhere, get a room, and have sex. This gave me pause because, while I was interested in getting to know her, I did not know her well enough for that. It made me uncomfortable. Story 69. Similar to what they said about men coming on too strong or too fast. And yeah, that's different for everyone. I'm older, and before my current relationship, there was a woman I was very into. She started asking if it was okay to call. She wanted to talk every night. Then she wanted to come to my work and get lunch. She pretty much wanted to go from 0 to being together in a week. It made me think she was going to want to live together and build a life if I didn't stop this now. We had only hooked up once and had not even been on a date. I would have been fine dating and getting to know each other. But she was divorced, and to me it felt like she was just looking for a man, and I had to decide quickly whether I was along for that ride. She found another man very quickly, and they live together now. So I think I was right. Story 70. Not showing enough interest. Not making it easy to meet. Not answering and communicating clearly. Not showing that they care or are interested. Not asking good questions. Not being enthusiastic. Dating women feels like a chore. Listening to women on social media makes me realize women are very damaged by unreal expectations in modern society. They don't understand it is a two-way street. Story 71. Showing interest that is not genuine. The only thing worse than being interested yet unable to communicate it clearly is having that skill but using it just for fun or validation. I have been hurt so many times that I assume all women who flirt are just putting on a show or selling something. Enjoy that, but do it somewhere else. Story 72. Being bratty without actually showing interest. Being a brat can be interesting in the bedroom. If we are not dating, you are just an annoying woman who will not leave me alone. Story 73. Don't be desperate if a man says no. That means no. We do not play games. We are not interested. This should go without saying. If anyone says no, man or woman, no means no. Story 74. Not making it clear that you are looking for a relationship, especially when you are talking online, causes confusion. There are many dating apps and online spaces where women will show interest only as long as it takes to get you on their subscription sites, which has negatively affected many men during the initial interactions. Even if you are not very interested, ask about their hobbies, talk about them for a bit, and make them realize that you are not trying to just get their attention to make money off them. In person, your hints may be too subtle, and you may not be expressing genuine interest. Make your intentions known. Many single men are not familiar with traditional dating habits and culture. They need to know you are interested. The age of playing games and subtle signaling is ending because no one uses those tactics anymore. Story 75. Straight up not showing enough interest. Subtle hints usually are not enough, and one word or short responses are a huge turnoff. Story 76. Match energy. If someone is not showing you the same energy, fall back. If someone ignores you, do not message them again. Story 77. Blink at him twice to show him you are interested. Girls, if this is you or your friend, no, we will not pick up on it. It is not that we are dumb. It is that we do not notice it. If we do, there is a 50-50 chance you are suspicious of us or interested. Story 78. Be a good communicator and use clear words to express interest, wants, and boundaries. Do not assume or hint. If you do, follow it up with words to ensure he is not misinterpreting what may be nothing more than a friendly smile. Do not play games or test. Observe and speak when you find something positive or problematic. Many women think they are good communicators because they talk continuously. Good communication requires making sure the message is received and understood. Story 79. Hints are not going to work exactly the way you want them to. Make it very clear or just be direct for the most part. Story 80. I would say do not stop when you are 90% of the way there when approaching a man. If you are willing to smile and wave at a random stranger, then why would you let your conversation end without making a move? It seems like you could get what you want with just a little more effort. Story 81. For the love of God, just talk and state your business. If you want a man, talk to that man. We are not psychic. Story 82. Pulling up in a car that has a breathalyzer installed. I would imagine it works the same way in reverse. Story 83. Understanding other women. Some women will grab, hug, and engage in similar actions with completely platonic intentions. Your shy girl flirting does not even register. Story 84. As others have said, men with decency are hardwired to think, she is not into me, she is just being nice. Don't make it weird. You only need to say, I like you. Story 85. I admit to taking kindness as interest as long as you are single. No guy around and no ring. If I am interested and flirt back but get no response, then that is it. On to the next candidate. I guess I am the stereotypical man who does not really want female friends. Story 86. Subtlety. This is not the cultural environment to be taking risks. Unless you show obvious and explicit interest, I am going to assume you are not. My assumptions are right more often than not. Story 87. Talking about the future they envision before getting to know the man and learning what is important to him. Story 88. Literally, we need those orange sticks they use to guide planes. Back in my retail days, I worked with a girl who was hired at the same time as me. We used to eat lunch together for a while. I just assumed she was being friendly. Fast forward. We were stocking shelves in the houseware section of the department store that day. She was down on the bottom shelf and said something. I leaned down to hear her, only to see her puckering her lips, going in for a kiss. I totally panicked and pretended not to notice. She pretended it didn't happen with very red cheeks. That's a missed opportunity one think about from time to time. You live and you learn, I guess. The easiest way to get close to someone is to go out and try. Don't wait for someone to make the first move. That applies to every gender. Story 89. Oh well, my past relationships all started from first date sex. So I thought it was okay. We talked for a moment before the date. Story 90. I don't know what my problem is then. I don't play hard to get. I usually show whenever I am interested in a guy. I do not give hints. I literally message and try to be proactive. Notice after I show interest, a lot of guys just take that as flattering and don't care. Long story short, I will give an example. I had this guy from a dating app. I was really interested in him. He showed interest in me at first. We had a date and ended up sleeping together. Later, I discovered he was just a player. He certainly did not show those vibes at first. He kept talking to me and then pulling away. I kind of fell into his mind games a little and kept begging him. Then he asked me to stop looking for him, so I did. This was in 2022. Now, in 2025, this guy found me on Instagram and requested to follow me. After that, I had to forget him and told myself, okay, this guy is just not into me. Now, explain this to me, men. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.